Good morning, everyone. I'm here alongside meteorologist Mary Ellen Pan with a check of the Storm Team forecast.
Yeah,
it is a little foggy out there.
It is. We do have some foggy spots out there. Let's take a look through our Harrisburg Skycam, and you can see the low visibility here, the low-level clouds, and it is impacting the visibility across parts of the area, not entirely the entire Susquehanna Valley. Storm Team Live Radar Network and our live Local 8 is not showing any precipitation, although there is some mist and even some drizzle in parts of the area, so just keep that in mind, in addition to some foggy spots, specifically near in Lebanon County, where our visibility is down to 1.25 miles. It's 1.5 miles in Gettysburg, but it is improving as we head through the morning hours. Temperatures right now, low to mid 60s for most of us, but you'll notice Chambersburg 71, 68 in Gettysburg. Dew points have been in the low to mid 60s, a little higher to the south and southwest, upper 60s from Gettysburg to Chambersburg. But the increasing dew points, the humidity, I should say, and the warmer temperatures expected today is going to lead to some scattered showers and storms as a cold front comes in later this afternoon. So it is an impact day. Those impacts really more so for the afternoon and the evening between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. That's the best chance for seeing these storms. Damaging winds are possible. Small hail, heavy rain, which could lead to some flash flooding. Your 12-hour forecast calls for some breaks in the cloud cover we have out there right now. I would say around 11 o'clock we start to see some more sun breaks. Temperatures will climb into the upper 80s. So keep in mind we were in the low 70s yesterday. So it is going to be noticeably warmer, noticeably more humid. Dew points in the 60s right now, but they are headed to the 70s. I'll talk more about those storm chances and what the second half of the weekend looks like coming up.
All right, thanks, Mary Ellen. Senators are working through the weekend on what's dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill ahead of President Trump's self-imposed July 4th deadline to pass the bill. Washington correspondent Jackie DeFusco joins us live with more on this weekend session. Jackie.
Hey, Susan, good morning. With a key procedural vote coming up as early as later today, as far as we know this morning, Republicans are still racing to rewrite some pretty significant portions of this bill in the Senate after facing roadblocks earlier this week. Among them is that the Senate rules referee basically came out and said that there are parts of this bill that are not within the bounds of the budget process that Republicans are using to get this bill passed on a simple majority, as opposed to the higher 60 vote threshold normally required to pass legislation in the Senate. It remains unclear if what is left over after this rewrite is going to satisfy the conflicting demands within the GOP's narrow majority. The sprawling bill, remember, contains major priorities for President Donald Trump, from increasing border security funding, military funding, to cutting taxes. The scope of the spending reductions aimed at offsetting those tax cuts, including on Medicaid, still remains one of the biggest sticking points for many senators. Now, supporters say that this bill requires urgent action, while critics say the process is being rushed.
This bill delivers on the mandate the American people gave Republicans last year: a stronger America, a safer America, and a more prosperous America. It's right around the corner.
Instead of fixing the egregious provisions of the bill, they're trying to jam it through. They don't want the American people to find out what's in it.
Now, if this bill ultimately does pass in the Senate, remember, it still has to go back over to the House and pass there too. President Donald Trump wants it all done and on his desk by July 4th. Reporting in Washington, I'm Jackie DeFusco, WGAL News 8.
Thank you, Jackie. And 8 on Your Side political reporter Tom Lehman spoke with U.S. Senator Dave McCormick in Washington about the bill and how it may impact Pennsylvania and the Susquehanna Valley.
U.S. Senator Dave McCormick is quick to emphasize the big, beautiful bill is not finalized, but he also says the need to control government spending is clear.
We have a $37 trillion debt, a $1 trillion interest payment every year, and a $2 trillion deficit. So it's like a family making $50,000 a year and spending $75,000. So it's unsustainable.
Pennsylvania and leaders like Governor Josh Shapiro estimate some 300,000 people in the Commonwealth may lose insurance coverage under proposed eligibility rules and work requirements for Medicaid. McCormick says some changes would ensure the program is helping those who truly need Medicaid, like the elderly, children, and people with disabilities.
There are people on the program, the working age men, that are not working, and the bill that's being proposed, at least, it's not obviously been passed, requires work. It has work requirements to be available for Medicaid. And it's 80 hours a month. So not 80 hours a week, 80 hours a month. And if you can't find a job, then you can volunteer or get education, and that applies.
I also asked McCormick what he thought about a provision in the legislation that seeks to discourage states from passing restrictions on how artificial intelligence is used.
It's trying to avoid states, particularly states like California as an example, imposing some very rigorous set of regulations on AI, because we absolutely must win the AI arms race. We're fighting a race for global supremacy here with China. At the same time, to protect states' rights.
The current proposal would require states to not enforce their own laws or regulations on artificial intelligence in order to have access to a set of federal funds.
That one's a balancing act.
I mean, Pennsylvania lawmakers are trying to prevent deep fakes of inappropriate images of people, children. Should this be the choice they have to make?
Well, this is one of the things that I think we have to be careful about, like privacy protections or things like deepfake. Absolutely. I just talked to the Attorney General just in the last day about the need for the states to be able to take action against things like deepfakes that could jeopardize our children and create harm.
McCormick also said he wants to extend tax cuts initially approved in 2017 that are set to expire at the end of this year. In Washington, Tom Lehman, News 8.